The next few videos will show how to create pattern repeat tiles in Illustrator. We'll do a straight block, half drop, mirrored, tossed, stripe, and plaid. And they'll each be done in separate videos so that way you can watch the ones that you need. But just to give you a preview, what you see here on the left artboard are some of the motifs that have been developed that would have been from previous videos. And then as you see, they're production ready prints put into repeat. So this is the repeat tile that has been created, and then you actually see it in a field size to test the way in which that tile repeats. You have all the colors that are involved in it. In this particular series, it's left with only the 4 colors, white and then the yellow, pink, and green, and with a series of different scaled types of motifs. You'll notice that some of them are true to scale when they're put into repeat. Other ones that have a larger tile, in order to see the way in which it's repeated, we had to scale that pattern down. So this one here is actually down to 15%, but all the other ones are true to scale. So we're going to start with the stars and stars. So let me get to that. Okay, here we are. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add another artboard on here so that way we have space to work with. Okay, like I said, here are the motifs over here. This obviously is the star and star. It was created just by using a star shape, creating 2 of them, scaling it down, using pattern with fill, no stroke, and then we put it into a rectangular box. So actually that's what I'll do and show you how to pull that into repeat, because sometimes you have some issues with tiling when you have a solid color, and you'll see what I mean as we go through. So I'm going to select this, group it, and I'm going to bring it right over so that we can work with it. Okay, now what I need to do is create my background. If you notice here, it's 2 inches wide by 3 inches high. So that's actually what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get my rectangle tool, double click, so that way I can put the size that I want. I want it 2 inches wide by 3 inches high. Okay, and there we are. Now, I can get my color a couple different ways. I have my board, so I do have my palette. However, I did save my palette as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get that. I have my pattern, my swatches pulled up, but I'm going to pull up my color swatches. So I had saved them. I'm going to go to Open Swatch Library, User Defined. This is Circus Circus. Not that there's that many colors, but here we go. Here are our colors. I'll put them right down here. So here's our rectangle. I want to color it in the green, and I want to make sure that there's no stroke. So now I can move this down to the star. I see where the centers intersect. That's great. But now I've lost my star. That's because I drew the rectangle after the star. So all I have to do is arrange it, transform it. I can do that a couple different ways. If I just right click, I can arrange, send to back. Okay. Now before we bring it into our patterns, because normally what we would do is we would group the whole thing and get pull it right into the swatches to create a pattern. I want you to be aware of the potential problems. So let me show you what I mean by that. Get to our rectangle tool. Now I'm just going to draw my rectangle here. Okay, and I'll fill it with the previous swatch that I had done to represent what can go wrong. So here's my swatch, and if you can see, there are very faint pinkish lines that go around the outside of that bounding box of the tile. We don't want that to happen. So I'm going to show you a little trick to try to alleviate that. So I'm going to select original rectangle. I'm going to group that. I'm going to edit, copy. I'm not going to paste it yet. What I'll do now is I'll reselect and create that green rectangle a little bit larger. Click off, select the whole thing, group the whole thing, and then edit, paste in front. And that will give us our rectangle right in front. Now, we don't see the star again. That's because we have green fill. We want to have this box that we're going to use as a clipping mask with no stroke and no fill. So now if I click off and I click back and get everything, I'm going to make a clipping mask. I can do it a couple different ways. I can go into Object, Clipping Mask, Make, and there we go. The other thing that you want to do is you want to crop it just to make sure that everything has been eliminated outside of that bounding box. So now I've cropped it. I can select the whole thing, which it already is, and I can just drag it into my swatches palette. Okay, so I'm hoping now that you'll be able to see the difference. Again, here you have those little reddish, pinkish lines that kind of identify where that tile repeats. We don't actually want that. So again, I'm going to select my rectangle, and now I'm going to put in the new pattern that we just created. See how those lines went away? By expanding that colored box behind where the clipping mask was, I was allowed to get the color right up to the edge. So what we did on that was we copied the rectangle, we did edit copy, then we expanded the colored space, grouped the whole thing together, edit, place in front, select the whole thing, Object, Clipping Mask, Make, crop in the Pathfinder tool, and then dragged it right into the patterns. So that's it for Stars and Stars. I can certainly add my color swatches on there and the title, and we'll move on to the next one. Thank you.